My name is Chris Brown, and I'm the Assistant Commissioner with the STD/HIV/AIDS Division with the Chicago Department of Public Health. And on behalf of the Department of Public Health and our Commissioner, Dr. Terry Mason, I want to thank everybody who's here today for attending and supporting this amazing activity. But more importantly, I really want to congratulate all of you for successfully completing the course here presented by the Georgia Doty Health Education Fund on hepatitis, HIV, and sexually transmitted diseases. And I want to particularly say I'm very pleased to see that it's covered all the topics. When I first came, I thought it was just about hepatitis, which is incredibly important, but I'm just very glad to see it's integrated in issues related to transmission and acquiring HIV and sexually transmitted diseases. As Don was kind of mentioning earlier, I know firsthand about the importance of learning about hepatitis because I am a person living with hepatitis C, and I was infected over 25 years ago.
You have had or are having some life experiences that most of us have not had and may not have. In one sense, most of us who have not had those life experiences really do believe we can tell you something. That sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not true. And so I think it's a mixture of both. The mixture meaning you really look like the folk who I had dinner with last night. You really look like the folk I had my sausage biscuit with last Sunday morning at McDonald's. You have families. Some of you have kids or spouses or partners or sisters or brothers. You live in community. What you have now, having been through the program, is a whole battery of information. And part of what we always talk about when we come to talk to groups like you is your obligation and what you can do and how you need to do it. That is a hell of a burden for us to put on you as you try to figure out what's next. I think the three things we can hope you do is, one, we can hope you use your information in a very, very narrow spectrum. That one is you use it to protect yourselves. That's critical. Secondly, you will use it to protect those who you come in contact with and who you love. That you use the information with your parents and with your sisters and brothers and your kids and your girlfriends or your partners or your spouses. Those are the two narrow places that you do that, and that you respect yourself and that you respect those folk because you've got some information. Now there's a third one we can hope you use, but it's really up to you. But it's up to you with us as a partner with you. And that is you use your information with a broader community, because you're going back to communities. Some of you, like me, will either pass a bunch of churches or stop by on occasion, or if you follow Father Clement's notion, you may go in on a regular basis. Most of us are from communities where our churches don't have any idea about what you have learned and what we're talking about here today. They don't want to talk about hepatitis C. They don't want to talk about HIV. They don't want to talk about sexually transmitted diseases. And so the real task is whether or not you can use this new information to help the community, to make it better. And I don't believe that I have the right to give you that assignment. What I do have the hope is that with you, we can work a deal to get that information, that ambassador's role you've been given, in a place that you can influence the community. So the community, rather than suggesting that there may be a problem with your return, sees you as an asset and a positive returning to the community. You're smarter than most of us. Had I not met Don and the program, had I not known some folk, I wouldn't know what hepatitis C is, or HIV. I would have had no real indication as to what the implications of it are. You're smarter than most of us. You did the training. And so it is important that you use it. I run an agency that serves 60,000 folk a year. In the service of 60,000 folk, I've got young men and young women and families who adopt kids, and I run 7 community schools, and we do domestic violence programs and bunches of programs. And so what's valuable for me today is to see how I connect with some of you, so you'll come talk to some of our kids and some of our folk who aren't going to listen to me. I'm the old fellow with the blue suit and the red tie who can hardly stand up, and who, when I stand up, they don't want to hear me, but they may listen to you. And so my job is to connect with you so you can help us make a difference in the community. And so I congratulate you for doing what you're doing. But I'd also be remiss to believe that you have done what you've done and that you're going to leave the facility and that you don't need some help. And so my other reason is to suggest to you that if you need us at Hull House, you ought to make sure that you get from the director here our address and our phone number, and you ought to call over and tell the folk you met me here and that I said we'd try to help you and to see what we can do. You need jobs, you need some skill training, you need some clothes to wear to the jobs, you may need some food, you may need just some general counseling about how to make it in the world. You've been separated for a while, and it changes. It changes. It really does change. You know, I go home at night, and there are 3 TV channels that I know. I wake up the next morning, there are 199 with Comcast and cable and everybody else. You know, which means I can never see a real TV show because I'm flipping through 199. And so it's no asset, it's just change. And so in that process, what I hope we also do for you today is to give you some links to some of us to make the move back into society as a citizen. The worst thing we do after you've completed this experience is we title you, we name you. And we name you negatively. Names for you. Folk go, you know, they come back as felons. They come back as all kind of offenders and whatever. But you know, when it really boils down to it, there are more of us in blue suits and white shirts in the corporate community and the leadership community who are felons and who are committing crimes on a daily basis, just different kinds. Just different kinds. And so the real piece of it is that you have got to respect yourselves, learn everything you can learn so you stay smarter than we are. And you are smarter. I really want to tell you that. And that you take the skills you've got and that you make out of yourself what you've decided to make. I agree with everything everybody said, but in the end, it's your choice. It's your choice. It was a respite from the choices you had made before. And it is an opportunity, given the second time, to do it differently. My job is to help you do it differently, is to be available to you, is to make the call. I also will tell you, I did not ask you to call my office and ask for anybody else. I said you call, you get the name, you ask me, you tell me, and I'll connect you with what I think may be the resources. Now, it also means I may not be able to do a darn thing for you. But it does mean I'm willing to try.
inform us about hepatitis C. It's a disease that's 100 times more likely to catch than HIV. As you can see, this particular disease has become very vital to the people around it. It's such a catastrophe. To know that it kills, there's nothing that can cure it, not even prescribed pills, vaccines, or money bills. The purpose of this message is to open your eyes, to make you aware that the chronic disease is in disguise through blood that's dry. So be careful what you touch before rubbing your eyes or getting a tattoo, because the person next to you can have the disease as sure as the sky is blue. Blood contact to open wounds and you will be through. Or should I say contaminated. You will appear to be cured, but your liver will be contaminated and dissipated. It's clearly not overrated, but rather understated. How this topic should be attacked and its concerns elevated. Thank you.